Well, the first question that I want to ask is I really want to talk about kind of the unconventional storytelling that you do. Usually when you pick up a romance, a lot of times you have a main characters, hero and heroine, and you read through and then you get their happily ever after. That's not necessarily what you do in your writing, especially your Cedar Cove series. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it's an ongoing series. So, I mean, there are main characters that will be in every single book. And their story goes on and on and on, just new facets of their life, just the way our lives are. When you get up in the morning, it isn't the same thing and you end it. It goes on and things happen and you're introduced to new people and new relations and situations. And that's what's happening with the characters in Cedar Cove. There may be new people that come into the series, but and then their stories are told.
Do you find, since your readers already know your characters from previous book, when they do become the main character in a book, do you find the expectations there a little daunting because they already know them and they already know about their lives? Does that get a little, do you have any anxiety around that?
Well, I do a little bit because I want to make their story special. And oftentimes they will be in a book for 3 or 4 books before I focus on them. And you want to make the story as compelling as the characters.
Absolutely. Do you have any favorite characters that you want to share? I know it's a little bit of a Sophie Choice moment, like you don't want to choose between your characters, but do you have any characters that you really gravitate towards?
I really love Terry and Bobby Polgar, Bobby's a chess champion, and I loved him the minute he appeared on the page. And the quintessential statement about Bobby is when he falls in love with Terry, all he's done his entire life is play chess. And when he meets her, and she's a hairdresser, he says for the first time in his life, he doesn't think, he feels. And you just love him from that moment on. And of course, I love Olivia and Grace, best friends.
I was going to say Olivia, I think, is probably one of my favorites. And we've really seen her ever since the first book. We've gotten the ups and downs and ins and outs. And she has gone through a little bit of hard times. Cancer.
Yeah, she has cancer now, which is one of the reasons I have this little pin. I was at a signing yesterday, and one of my readers brought me this pin in honor of Olivia. I just thought I was really touched by that. She'd gone through cancer herself.
Wow, that's really interesting. Do you get a lot of your fans writing you and telling you about their own experiences? And do you ever use any of that in your writing?
Absolutely. I hear from my readers. Readers are so important to me. They have changed the course of my career on 4 different occasions. I've changed exactly the way I've done things because of their feedback. And a couple of story ideas for the Cedar Cove series have actually come from the readers themselves. What would happen if? And oh, that's a good idea. So yes, I do, and I love hearing from my readers, and I read every single piece of mail that comes in.
Do you find that there's a particular age group or type of fan that you have? Because I know your characters span everything from first loves, you're seeing, them have babies, all the way up through becoming grandmothers and being widowed. Do you find that your fans, where do they fall on that spectrum, or do they span the entire spectrum?
I'm really blessed in that way because they do span the entire spectrum. I get letters from girls and that are 13 years old to women who are 85. I got a letter recently from a woman who said, "When is that next Cedar Cove book coming out? I'm 85, hurry!" Cute.
Well, we usually get one a year. Is that right? A Cedar Cove book a year?
Yes, one a year. Just one a year.
Every
September.
Every September. And we're in 2009, so we're going to be getting the 9th book.
That's right.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, let me see. Christy, who is one of Terry Polgar's sister, who's lived a really hard life, has made a basic decision about her life, and she's going on. And then there is another character that came out with a Christmas book this last year. I had Cedar Cove Christmas, a woman who came into town. It was the retelling of the original Christmas story. So they're playing a major role. So it's the same. And Olivia, of course, is recovering from cancer and going through chemotherapy. And there's other characters. They just pop on in. So there's about 4 or 5 stories. It's like braiding hair. You weave a little bit here, a little bit there, and in the end you have a beautiful braid.
Do you find yourself, when you're writing the books, do you find that you focus on the characters or couples individually and then weave it together? Or when you're writing, do you go from beginning to end and really include everybody at the same time?
Well, I try always to outline the books beforehand, so I know exactly how many scenes are going to be in the book and how many stories, and then focus as much as possible on one of the characters. Now, this book, because it's the address, it's their address. 92 Pacific Boulevard is the address of Troy Davis, who is the policeman in town, or the sheriff. And there's always a mystery, some kind of small mystery, and sometimes a bigger mystery, in the books themselves, and that's generally how the stories are focused on that character.
Excellent. Can you tell me maybe what's next for Cedar Cove? I know that I don't want any big spoilers, but if you can tell us maybe some of the characters you see making major appearances in the next few Cedar Cove books.
Well, because I'm going to book 10 next, we're going to 4 numbers, so the next number will be 1022 Evergreen Place, I believe. So it'll be 4 numbers. But the big news about Cedar Cove is what's happened in my little town of Port Orchard, which is based on the Cedar Cove series. I mean, I put the series there, and it's very thinly disguised. The restaurants in town are, in the series, it's called the Pancake Palace. In my hometown, it's the Family Pancake House.
So everyone knows in town who they are,
yes.
right?
Oh, yes. And Dee Dee's on the Cove is Amy's on the Bay in town. And there is a library with a mural and a totem pole and a marina. And so many people were coming to town just to visit that. I ended up producing a map. The map got picked up by the USA Today. The city leaders said, well, we should take advantage of the fact that all these people are coming. So the whole town has come together. It's just amazing. Volunteer groups. They had so many volunteers to clean up town, they didn't have enough work for them to do. They decided to repaint the entire town. No kidding. I mean, it's just amazing. There's 35 events. About 80% of them are free. My kids are going to do the tour buses. It's going to be great. It's great.
Are your grandkids going to be there?
Oh yes, the grandkids. There's a dance. There's a big cruise on the Sinclair Inlet over to a phenomenal lodge for a dinner. It's going to be beautiful. Just beautiful.
That's interesting. I don't know a whole lot of authors that really open up their towns to their fans and to their readers to let them kind of see inside the process a little bit. Because when you're walking, those are the same streets that you walk down to be inspired for your books, and they're going to get to walk those streets and meet the people. So that's excellent. That's very interesting.
It's just going to be so much fun. And all of the merchants downtown have their own little Cedar Cove product. Like the candy store has seagull plops. Isn't that fun? Yes, and they have a little Cedar Cove bracelet and Cedar Cove drinks, and there's going to be teas, high teas at the tea room, and it's fun.